Welcome to Season 3 of Soul Spark. These episodes are brain snacks, brief bite-sized reflections from my personal journey, designed to be digested in just a few minutes. I want to keep things real here, which means these recordings, much like life itself, are perfectly imperfect. You might hear a pigeon outside my window, a scooter passing by, or me simply stumbling over a word. I'm not here to tell you how to live or what to do. I'm just here to share my unpolished stories and the questions I've wrestled with along the way. My hope is that by sharing what's moved me, I might just spark something in your soul today. Let's dive in. Episode 25, The Origin and the Lineage. Have you ever carried a heavy backpack for so long that your shoulders eventually go numb, and you actually forget that you're even wearing it? You just get used to walking with a heavy, unnatural limp, completely convinced that this is just the way your body is supposed to move. In late November 25, I found myself back on the mat for another body remembrance trauma therapy session. A few months prior, I had made a peace with a sharp, frustrating pain in my left knee. I'd learned to stop fighting my body and start loving it. But this time, as I lay there, and the natural tremors began to move through my muscles, the pain in my knee returned. Only this time, the pain felt entirely different. It didn't feel like the exhaustion of the working Dennis. It felt infinitely older. It felt incredibly deep, ancient, and deeply ingrained in my bones. As the shaking intensified, my mind didn't go to my own childhood. It went further back. I felt a sudden overwhelming connection to my lineage. I felt the invisible presence of the generations who came before me, my parents, my grandparents, and the long line of people whose blood runs through my veins. For the first time, I clearly saw how they had lived. They lived in pure survival mode. They went through wars, poverty, quiet heartbreaks, and immense stress. They didn't have the luxury of sitting on a mat to process their trauma. They had to swallow their pain, lock it away, and just keep working so that the next generation could survive. Lying there, the heavy truth hit my chest. The pain in my left knee wasn't just my pain, it was our pain. I was physically carrying the unexpressed grief, the silent stress, and the frozen trauma of the people who came before me. Without even realizing it, I had picked up their heavy backpack the day I was born, and I had been walking with their limp for nearly 50 years. When you realize that your physical pain or your deepest anxieties might not even belong to you, it completely shatters your ego. You realize you're not just a single isolated person. You are the endpoint of a massively family tree. But here's the beautiful part. Because I am the endpoint of their survival, I am also the origin point for our healing. You don't need to heal generational trauma by being angry at your ancestors for what they couldn't do. You heal it by finally allowing your body to feel the things they were never allowed to feel. You heal it by breaking the cycle. I didn't try to stop the shaking in my knee. I just let it release. In the quiet of my own mind, I spoke to my ancestors and I said, I honor everything you survived so that I could be here. But this weight stops with me. I am putting the bag down for all of us. The physical relief that rushed through my body was indescribable. The joint loosened, the heavy pressure completely evaporated. When you finally stop carrying the ghost of your lineage, you realize they don't want you to suffer for them. They want you to be free. So, I want to ask you, what heavy, silent weight are you carrying today that doesn't actually belong to you? What if the exhaustion in your body is just the unhealed echo of the generations that came before you? What if you gave yourself permission today to honor your lineage, but finally put their backpack down? Did I spark your soul today? Thank you for sharing this perfectly imperfect space with me today. As you step back into the rush of your world, remember that you don't need to have it all figured out, and you certainly don't need to perform for anyone. Sometimes just sitting with the messy questions is exactly where you need to be. May this brain snack offer you a deep breath and a moment of stillness in the noise. And remember, embrace the spark.